What is up, everybody? This is Mr. Howard, and welcome back to this week's Raw Talk. Today we're going to be going over the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, and then we will jump into what happened on Monday Night Raw as well. So the first match on the Money in the Bank pay-per-view was the tag title match. It was a fatal four-way for the tag titles between the New Day, the Vaudevillains, the Club, and Enzo and Cass. So, I just set up a little bit of a a 3-on-3 tag match here because we can't get the full match in the game here. But let's talk about what happened. So, basically, they kind of went back and forth. Every team kind of got a couple spots in where they could, do their signature moves and whatnot. And eventually an all-out brawl broke out, not really surprisingly. We saw, Big Cass make a real effort to win, and between him and Enzo, they got pretty close to getting the pin on, I think, Aiden English. And, basically every team kind of had their shot at doing, their tag team special move. The Club hit their finisher, but then the New Day came in and took the pin and retained the titles. So, the New Day are, teasing they're going to get split up. And, with this upcoming draft, I don't really know if that's going to happen or not. Maybe, it'll happen, but they are just starting to kind of become like a famous tag team. And I don't think splitting them up would be the best idea for right now. But the Club and Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains, I'm sure they will be staying tag teams for a while. Hopefully Enzo and Cass will get a title shot soon. I'm a huge fan of Enzo and Cass, and all I can really say is that I wish they would, be the tag champs very, very soon. Alright, so moving on, we had what they deemed the conclusion to the Baron Corbin versus Dolph Ziggler feud, and it really wasn't that great of a match. Baron Corbin basically just kind of dominated throughout. Dolph Ziggler has a way of breaking out and trying to make a comeback throughout his matches, and he did that, and it almost looked like he had a shot. But at the same time, Corbin just wasn't having any of it. Ziggler hit him with a really nice super kick, but Corbin kicked out, and when he got up, he finished Ziggler off with the end of days. I really hope this is the last time we see them wrestle for quite a while. Not because I don't enjoy watching them wrestle, but, the feud was way overdone. They kind of milked it, and it just wasn't really fun to watch anymore. So Baron Corbin wins, and he will hopefully move on to bigger and better things. He didn't really do much on Monday Night Raw, but we'll talk about that later on. Alright, so next up we had the women's tag match between Charlotte and Dana Brooke facing off against Becky Lynch and Natalya. And it looked like Becky and Natalya were going to win, but of course, they all kind of got in the ring at the same time. I believe Dana Brooke basically threw Becky into Natalya, which kind of knocked them both out, or kind of, put them out of their, conscious state. And, I think Natalya was, kind of visibly frustrated. Charlotte finished up with natural selection, and her and Dana Brooke won the match. After the match, a visibly angry Natalya attacked Becky Lynch and kind of gave us a glimpse into what they plan on doing, I guess you could say, with Natalya. I mean, she's going to be a heel from now on, apparently, and Becky will be tied up with Natalya, so it kind of left us wondering who Charlotte will be facing for the title in the future. I think we got an answer to that on Monday Night Raw, but we'll save that for a little bit. Next up was Sheamus versus Apollo Crews. Not much to talk about here. Sheamus, kind of tried to use brute force on Apollo Crews, and after getting his butt whooped for a while, Apollo Crews kind of got like a sneaky roll-up pin on Sheamus and won the match relatively quickly. I mean, I would say Apollo Crews is a little bit of a rookie, to say the least, but I think they're going to try and push him in the coming months, and maybe after the draft he'll be one of those breakout stars. You never know. Moving on, we have arguably what should have been, or what was like the match of the night between John Cena and AJ Styles. I have been a huge fan of both of these guys. I don't even know, for last 10 years or so, at least, and they were really two guys that I did want to see wrestle, when they were in different leagues, and we finally got a chance to see that. They had a really, really good match this night, and they both kind of traded blows, and, Cena would hit a monstrous clothesline, AJ would hit one of those, shin, I don't even know what it's called, but he'd kick Cena right in the top of the head, which would stagger him, and they just went back and forth and back and forth. And, Cena kicked out of the Styles Clash. AJ got to the ropes when Cena hit the STFU, or locked it in. He somehow got out of the FU, mid-air, landed on his feet. I think we've seen maybe Seth Rollins or someone do that before. Cena also kicked out of a 450 splash, which was really cool. And, of course, towards the end of the match, the referee and all of the brawling got, knocked out, and I kind of knew what was going to happen next. If you couldn't guess, the club, of course, came out, ambushed Cena, hit their finishing move, and just in time to miss the turn of events, the referee wakes up, and AJ gets the pin to win the match. I would have to say this would have been an amazing match if they just had a better ending. I really wanted to see a clean win. I guess you could say I'm a Cena fanboy or whatever, but I mean, I would have been more than happy to see Styles win if he could have done it cleanly. This just kind of makes it makes it harder to build a character, a big star out of Styles, because I mean, this is the problem that I have with Rollins too. You're worried about guys like Cena burying them, but they can't get a win fairly 90% of the time. And if they do, it's clearly for a certain reason. So, I mean, I'm always going to be an AJ Styles fan. He's a phenomenal wrestler, and he deserves that title. But I hope to see a better match. I don't know. I just hope to see a better match in the future, and see an actual conclusion to the feud instead of having people run in or countouts and disqualifications and all that stuff. Not a big fan of it. And hopefully we'll get to see a good match at SummerSlam or something. Alright, so we're going to move on a little bit to the other highlight of the night, which was the Money in the Bank match between Sami Zayn, Alberto Del Rio, Cesaro, Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, and Kevin Owens. So basically, this was. The way I looked at this was there's no way Jericho's going to win. It's probably unlikely for Kevin Owens to win just because you can make the case that the two guys fighting for the world title are already are already heels. So you don't really need another heel in the title picture. And that also excludes Del Rio, but I don't think Del Rio should win anything ever. I'm really not a fan and don't understand why he's ever got a push in his entire career. But that basically left three options between Cesaro, Dean Ambrose, and Sami Zayn. Now, I probably would have preferred Cesaro of everyone, just because he's been here so long and he's deserved it for so long. Sami Zayn would have been great because, he's a young star and he is really talented. He clearly deserves to be in some kind of a title match. But I would say for the foreseeable future, he should be in more U.S. and Intercontinental title feuds instead of world title feuds. And that's not to say he won't get a world title shot in the future. I just don't think he's really ready or deserving of it quite yet. We saw a ton of big spots in this match. Jericho, I think notably, was hitting everybody with a ladder. And then, Ambrose followed up and hit everybody with a ladder. And then I think Cesaro did his 4-corner, or in this case 3-corner, uppercuts to everybody in the corners of the ring. And then Kevin Owens did his cannonballs to everybody who was sitting in the corner of the ring. I think Jericho got really close to grabbing the Money in the Bank, grabbing the briefcase, kind of towards the middle end of the match. And Ambrose also had a shot at it. Zayn was really close before I think it was Del Rio that knocked him off. And then, of course, you had the spot where all 6 wrestlers got on top of the ladders in the middle of the ring, and they all kind of knocked each other off one by one. Eventually, Ambrose slid back up the ladder and did get the briefcase and the win, and everybody was super excited, although I have to say it was definitely the most predictable. It's also not really a disappointment at all because everybody loves Ambrose, and he deserves a world title shot, if not a world title reign, more than most people. So I was very excited about that, and we will talk more about what Rollins what his part will be in this feud in the coming weeks and months. So we're gonna move on real quick to Rusev versus Titus O'Neil. This was pretty much very quick match. Rusev pretty much crushed Titus in the way he normally does. Hit the accolade, knocked Titus O'Neil off relatively quickly. Then we had the world title match. You can see here Roman Reigns defending against Seth Rollins. It was good, although I think Rollins definitely looked a little bit too strong. I mean, I don't know. I know it's not just me, but I feel in the minority on this opinion. Rollins just shouldn't be considered as big of a threat to Reigns as some other people. I mean, he's incredibly athletic, but Reigns should be able to overpower him. He should be able to just kind of dominate him for the majority of the match. It's kind of like seeing Big Show or Kane versus the Hardys or anyone smaller than The Rock and Triple H and them. I mean, I don't know. It could just be because I'm not a fan of Rollins, but with the exception of some of his technical feats, like jumping off the top rope and doing flips and shit. Like, I don't know. I don't think he is really like. He doesn't seem like someone that I would put in a main event world title feud. I would definitely put him in like a U.S. title feud or something. I think he'd be much better than Rusev for that. But maybe he'll jump down and fight he could have some really good matches with all of the cruiserweights that we currently have and that we should probably have in the next couple of months with this Cruiserweight Classic and the draft. So I'm hoping that's kind of where they go, but I have like a 90%, I'm 90% sure that that's not going to happen, unfortunately. Basically, the match went back and forth. We had it was pretty even overall. I don't think it should have been, but it was. And, Reigns, he'd hit a spear, and Rollins would hit like a flip off the top rope, and then Reigns hit the Superman punch, and then Rollins would hit a corner power bomb, and somehow Rollins hit the pedigree. I don't know how that happened. It was like just not realistic in my opinion, and then got the pin cleanly, which I was trying to understand how that could happen, and realistically that wouldn't or shouldn't happen at all. But then, as Rollins was celebrating, it became clear to me why he was allowed to get the pin, and that is because Dean Ambrose comes out and cashes in the Money in the Bank briefcase. So it all was very clear to me. They didn't want to have, Ambrose cash in on Reigns. They wanted him to cash in on Rollins. One, because Ambrose is maybe a little bit friendlier with Reigns, but also because they probably want to have like a triple threat feud over the belt. And if Rollins somehow beat Reigns, that would then give him a reason to be in the title feud. Personally, I would have much preferred Reigns just win cleanly and then have Ambrose come in and cash in to exclude Rollins altogether. But, that's just me. I know most of you guys were either happy or at least somewhat accepting of the events. So that is basically what took place at Money in the Bank. Ambrose comes in, hits Dirty Deeds on Rollins, wins the World Heavyweight title, and we have our second title change in the night. It was a good ending to a decent pay-per-view. I hated the ending to pretty much every match except for the Money in the Bank. And then when Ambrose came in and cashed in, it kind of redeemed the world title match a little bit. And it could have been better, but this was very much pay-per-view, kind of trying to set up feuds and rivalries for the next couple weeks and months. So I get it. Now we're going to move on to Monday Night Raw. And the night started off with Ambrose coming out, talking about how great of a night he had last night. Reigns comes out and, asks for a rematch. Rollins comes out, asks for a rematch. Shane McMahon comes out, announces there will be a number one contenders match later in the night. And that would be set to be the main event of the night, which we will talk about in a little bit. They announced officially that the WWE Draft will be on July 19th, which is the first live SmackDown. And I'm not sure if they're going to be doing anything on Monday Night Raw the night before, or if they're going to do anything the week after. I do know Battleground is the next pay-per-view, and that is just a couple days after the draft. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. We could be getting a really good pay-per-view. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where they go with that. But the first match of the night was Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. as you can see here, and definitely didn't disappoint. They always put on really good matches, and I don't think I've really been left disappointed by these guys in a long time. Uh, Zayn delivered a nice moonsault pretty early in the match. And then, Owens kind of hit a couple super kicks here and there. And basically, it was just your typical, like, underdog fights big dog match between Zayn and Owens. Eventually, somehow, Zayn ended up picking up the win. And Kevin Owens was pissed, so he powerbombed. He tried to go for a powerbomb on Zayn, that is, and couldn't get it. And then the two just kind of attacked each other until the officials came out. But I don't know how long they can make this feud go on, but I'm intrigued to see how long it'll be before it gets tiresome. I'm not tired of it yet, but we're definitely getting to the point where it's like, all right, let's do something different, But yeah, we saw a nice suicide dive by Zayn, some super kicks by Owens. Owens went for a powerbomb, got reversed, and Zayn picked up the win with a cradle pin, which was pretty interesting. We also saw the return of John Laurinaitis come out and kind of throw his name in the hat to run SmackDown. Shane came out and explained to him that he's going to be running SmackDown and Raw and that we don't need anyone. I'm really intrigued at how that's going to take place. I don't know if Shane is going to run both or if he's just going to end up picking one in the end. If he does, I hope he picks Raw, but we'll see. We also saw a match between Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains, which, it is what it is. Enzo and Cass kind of dominated the match, and they look strong. Not much new here. We saw AJ Styles come out and kind of ask the club to apologize to him for coming out and interfering in his match. He then asked Cena to come out so the club could apologize to him. And then when Cena comes out, they kind of set up the match between Cena and Carl Anderson for Monday Night Raw, saying that the other two will not interfere in the match regardless of what happens. Which, of course, didn't happen because Cena was wiping the floor with Carl Anderson. He hit the FU, was about to go for the pin, and of course gets attacked by the club. So, not much new there either. Hopefully we'll see some clean fighting in the future. I don't really know what else to say. We also saw Baron Corbin come out and faced Zack Ryder, which was kind of a disappointment because I was hoping they'd start up a new feud for him. Pretty much just dominated Ryder in like maybe a minute or two match and picked up the win. We also saw the announcement of a women's title match between Charlotte and none other than the returning Paige. I am so excited for this match, and I was really hoping Paige would somehow just win the title. But of course, Dana Brooke gets involved and, distracts Paige, giving Charlotte the win. They then attack Paige, but all of a sudden you hear some music, and none other than the boss, Sasha Banks, returns and kind of makes it known that she wants a women's title match. So it looks like it's going to be Charlotte versus Sasha, which I have no reason to complain about, but I'm definitely going to be disappointed if Paige isn't involved because I just want her as champ forever. I love Paige. That was kind of the best case scenario if we could have all three of them, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We also saw the return of the Wyatt family, and the crowd was going absolutely nuts. Um, the Wyatt family has been gravely missed, and I am definitely glad they are back, especially Bray Wyatt. Halfway through their serious promo, the New Day came out um, and kind of interrupted them with their like happy-go-lucky, kind of goofy antics, and it didn't seem like the Wyatt family was having anything to do with it. Xavier Woods seemed to be in kind of like a trance when he stared at Bray Wyatt. Not sure what that's about, but that could be foreshadowing a split of the New Day, or at least a split between the New Day and Xavier Woods. Not much really happened, but it's definitely foreshadowing a feud at the very least between the two factions, and I hope they do something good with this, because this could be a way to kind of legitimize the Wyatt family by itself, and hopefully in the near future Wyatt will get a good push and maybe be a champion for once. That would be nice, but you never know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Moving on, we're going to see Titus O'Neil come out to have another match with Rusev, but it didn't last long, as Titus basically just kind of brawled with Rusev until Rusev ran from the ring up the ramp, and the match ended in a countout, I believe. I don't know if this feud is over or not, but it definitely seems like they're really just punishing Titus O'Neil at this point, which I don't understand, because he didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes WWE is a little bit unreasonable, but it is what it is, right? Moving on to the main event of Raw, we had Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins in a number one contenders match for the World Championship, and it was all right. I mean, it was better than the match the night before. Reigns pretty much dominated the entire time, like he should, and then Rollins would get in cheap shots here and there to kind of balance the tide, and that is exactly how the match is like meant to take place. They kind of brawled, doing like their own moves back and forth a little bit. Again, Reigns mostly dominated. Eventually, the fight broke out outside, and neither one of them could get back into the ring, and it ended in a double countout. So this is pretty much what I expected. Shane came out, and right before he was about to restart the match, Dean Ambrose said, don't restart the match, I'll face both of them at the next pay-per-view, which will be Battleground. And a triple threat match was set up. So we will be having a triple threat match for the world title between the Shield members, between Ambrose, between Rollins, and Reigns. The only way the match could end badly, I would say, is if Rollins wins. I would definitely prefer Reigns not to win as well, but that's more just because I was kind of tired of him being champion. He would at least be a worthy champion, if not a good one. But I'm assuming Ambrose will be the reigning champion for the foreseeable future. If he's not, that's definitely a mistake made by creative. I'd say Ambrose deserves it more than any of these guys by a long shot, and I definitely hope to see more of Ambrose, but I don't expect I don't know. I don't expect him to be champion till like the end of the year, but I do expect him to be champion at least till SummerSlam. Hopefully, post SummerSlam. And if he's not, hopefully there's someone else in the picture, like Cesaro or Bray Wyatt or someone that's not the Shield. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents. I would say overall the Money in the Bank pay-per-view was all right. The Money in the Bank match was great. They usually are. The John Cena AJ Styles match was phenomenal until the end, when there was a interference. The main event was all right, and then Ambrose winning kind of redeemed it a little bit. So, that's just what I'm thinking. We also have to look forward to the draft coming up in a few weeks. Actually, just about a month now. And I don't really know what they plan on doing. The assumption is they'll have the Intercontinental belt on one brand and the U.S. title on the other. But I don't know if they plan on splitting up the world title again. They kind of have to, but I don't know how they're going to do it, when they're going to do it, and who's going to be the champs. Ideally, it would be probably Ambrose and Reigns, to kind of lead their respective brands. And then you could have the heel like Rollins or, I don't know, Jericho or whoever the hell you want to put in there, kind of be their challenger respectively. We also only have one women's belt, so I don't think they would put two women's titles in the WWE. But what I do expect to see happen is for the women's title to go to one brand, whichever that one is, and for them to bring back the old Cruiserweight Championship, to kind of be the alternate or the opposite title on the other brand, kind of like they did back in 06, 07. And with all of the cruiserweights that have come into the company recently that are in NXT ready to be pulled up, all the people competing in the Cruiserweight Classic, it just makes sense for them to have a Cruiserweight Championship. And I think that would lead to some really, really good matches in the future. I can definitely see that being a big factor in making SmackDown a great show. So that's what I'm gonna kind of leave on today. Monday Night Raw was pretty good. Money in the Bank was all right. We're going to be talking about Battleground in a couple weeks. But until then, I want to thank you guys for watching. As always, feel free to leave a like, a comment, or to subscribe. And, have a good day, guys. I'll see you real soon.